Okay, this is going to be a 2 a.m., roughly 2 a.m., Saturday, September 3rd update on Tropical Storm Hermine. It is no longer a hurricane. And I want to go over the track that the National Hurricane Center forecast has put out to show you what's going to happen with this storm. And basically, it's heading northeast, it's heading up the coast. Unfortunately, that seems to be what's going on. But there's still a lot of uncertainties. And as far as the track of this storm goes, now, the stuff I talked about in the other video still holds true. We have an offshore ridge and a ridge up to the north that's blocking this storm from escaping, basically. So what you're looking at here is the track area. And basically, they have it moving, they have it slowing down considerably tomorrow. And what's going to happen is it's going to reemerge tomorrow night back out over the ocean again. And the concern with that is we still have water temperatures that are fairly warm, 75 to 80 degrees in this area here. And that's enough that could cause the storm to re-strengthen again. It could also start to become a hybrid type of storm, which by this map seems to indicate what they're thinking right now. It's going to be a hybrid storm. Sandy was a hybrid storm, and we all remember how bad that was because it was a hybrid storm, because it actually combined the energy from a nor'easter into a tropical system. And the same thing could happen here. The difference with this track is that it keeps it offshore. But the problem is it stays just offshore, and it curves in just a little bit, as you hear as we head Sunday night into Monday, toward the coast of New Jersey before very, very slowly moving northeastward again. Even if the worst of the winds doesn't get us, this prolonged period of an onshore flow will cause the water to start building up in the bays and cause coastal flooding, particularly in New Jersey, particularly on the western Long Island Sound. Those are the areas that I think we have to look out for because of the prolonged east to northeast flow, even if we don't get that strong of winds. But I want to look at some other maps that they've put out for this. I want to look at the wind speed probabilities. This is the wind speed probability. This is the probability of tropical storm force winds. And this map puts us in about a 70% chance of seeing tropical storm force winds. That's winds averaging over 39 miles an hour. That is increased because the problem is, as you'll see in the forecast, that as it becomes extratropical, actually the wind field starts increasing because of a gradient between the high pressure to the north and the east and the storm to the south and west. So you'll see that we have a pretty good chance of seeing tropical storm force winds. Let's look at the 50-knot wind speed probability. Not as high. That would be most likely right along the immediate shore, particularly along the Jersey shore. And then we look at the hurricane speed probability. Not very likely. I don't think we're going to see hurricane force winds. I still hopefully don't think that's going to happen. But if we learned anything from Sandy, it's to expect the unexpected. And I certainly wouldn't want to be on a barrier island like Fire Island. I know a lot of people went there today, Friday. Actually, it was yesterday. They went there, and I mean, they may have to evacuate there in 24 hours or so. We're gonna have to keep an eye on it. I mean, this is a storm that we need to take seriously, obviously, because of the chance of what can happen. So let's look at the storm right now. The first thing I want to look at is the radar. So let's put this radar into motion. And you'll see that there's a tornado warning actually near Cape Hatteras. This is a pretty intense line of convection right here. And there's some light convection here, but it's really starting to look a little more extratropical already. It's weakened significantly. Winds are only 50 miles an hour right now. Maximum sustained winds. So it is weakening because of its trip over land. However, it's going to slow down and it's going to reemerge over water. And once this reemerges over water, it's going to start gaining strength again. And that is my concern, especially because it's going to slow down. Usually these storms speed up when they get toward us, but because of climate change, they slow down now. That's what's going on. So you have some pretty intense convection over here off Cape Hatteras here, and I just want to check for lightning strikes and see what that looks like. Okay, so it's just a look at some lightning strike data here. Not that bad. Whatever reason, tropical systems don't seem to have a lot of lightning in them. But don't underestimate the strength of this convection here and the winds that it can bring down into North Carolina and in Virginia. We're just going to start in coastal Virginia probably by the morning. So now let's look at the satellite, and we're going to put that satellite into motion. You can see Hermine right here. Again, looking kind of extra tropical, and it seems to be moving along pretty quickly, but it's going to start slowing down because you see all this beautiful clear air here. There's a nice high pressure system here. And man, if this was able to push that storm out, it would be great. But that's not going to happen because we have an offshore ridge that's not allowing this storm to escape out to sea. And again, Atlantic ridging, very unusual. I mean, usually these storms take a track offshore. They don't go right up the coast. And if they do move toward us, they usually start accelerating and speeding up instead of slowing down. But when we look at the forecast now, you'll see that the models have been pretty consistent on slowing this thing down, unfortunately. And so that's what we have to look at. So we're going to look at this GFS here. This is 12-day tomorrow, 12-hour tomorrow morning. And we'll see here how it tracks through the day. That's tomorrow night. You can see how it's slowing it down, but it's also strengthening it. Look at the tightness of the isobars, and this tells you the pressure here. It actually starts dropping the pressure. The storm starts bombing out almost like a winter storm almost, with tropical characteristics. And the problem is that we have a high, you see we have the offshore ridge here, and then we have the high of the north. So this thing's literally blocked in here, and it can't move. This is really unusual. This is a similar pattern that gave us Sandy. I'm not saying that this storm's going to be like Sandy, but it's a similar pattern that gave us Sandy. So we do have to be aware. This is going to be more and more of what's going to be happening due to climate change. So let's go now. This is Sunday morning. Let's go into Sunday afternoon, and it's starting to look scary. This storm is really starting to intensify, and it's starting to hook left a little bit, and it really just puts us in some strong winds, particularly south of the area. South, I think that Jersey Shore probably in the worst of it. But you got to remember we have the gradient between the high here and the low to here. So you have the combination of tropical and nor'easter. So strong winds. Unfortunately, prepare to lose power, especially if you if you live in Jersey Shore or Long Island. Because of especially here on Long Island, because the power lines are very antiquated. And I mean, hopefully we don't see the wind. I pray we don't see the wind, because I remember how long I was without power from Sandy, and that was horrible. So let's go into Labor Day here, and you can see the storm just sits here and just picks up strength, and it just sits here because it's blocked by the stupid ridge. This is not normal. This is something we need to be alarmed about. So now we're going into Tuesday here, and this thing is still sitting south of Long Island. It's still sitting there. This is unbelievable. It's still sitting there. I mean, if this verifies, even if we don't see really bad winds, there's going to be terrible beach erosion, coastal damages along the Jersey Shore and Long Island as well. And then we get to Wednesday morning, and does it finally move? No, it's still not moving. Here we are Thursday. The thing is still sitting there. It's all because of that abnormal ridge. This is not a normal pattern that we are experiencing. Here we are into Thursday. Is it going away yet? It's slowly starting to move away by Friday. This is crazy. The thing sits here for like a week before it finally starts to weaken and move away. I hope this is wrong. I really do. Because if it's not, we could be in for a real world of hurt. So I want to go to the European model now. Let's see what the European does. There's just 3 days, so this is actually Monday. You can see it's sitting there. And Tuesday, it's starting to move a little bit, and the euro seems to just make it go away by Wednesday. So I don't know if I buy the euro. I mean, the GFS picked up on Sandy better, and I want to look at some of the other models while I'm here. Let's look at wish I could look at the GFS AVN model. We're going to take a look at the GFS now in this mode here, alright? Just to give you, it'll show you where the precipitation is, basically. And you see, it keeps the heaviest precipitation just offshore. So we don't even get much beneficial rain from this, but we're going to experience the wind and the coastal flooding. It seems like I think that New Jersey shore might get hit a little worse than us. You can see this is how slow it moves. You just look up here, this will tell you the date and everything. It's crazy. So let me just look at the NAM. This is the NAM model. Alright, so we're just going to show you this. Heavy rain. NAM always overdoes on the precipitation. Always has. The NAM seems to want to keep it a little more offshore, as you see, and I would like that NAM track to verify because that's further away from us, but look at what happens. Still, when we get to Monday, it backs it in a little bit. So it's all because of that damn ridge offshore. This is not normal, man. This is not normal. And that ridge is a serious problem, and something needs to be done about that ridge. That's a serious problem. So I just want to look at the map here. This is the map from the Weather Service. We're just in a tropical storm watch now for Long Island, but there's already warnings for the Jersey Shore and South here. I assume that we are going to be placed under a warning very shortly. So I'll try to keep you updated on this storm. I hope and pray it is nothing like Sandy. I hope and pray, because going through that was absolutely horrible for so many people. But because of climate change, we can expect more setups like this. And I really think people need to wake up, and we need to start doing something about the climate. More than just curbing our emissions, we've got to now actively work on cooling this planet down. Stay safe, folks.